Among all the sports tournaments in the world, the Formula One Grand Prix is the second most lucrative sport on Earth, coming right behind the UEFA Champions League, and Formula One is well on its way to becoming number one soon. With its increasing popularity, Formula One staff, especially drivers, are one of the highest paid in the world, and rightly so, because what they do requires a tremendous amount of skill and dedication. This leads us to wonder, what do they spend all that money on when they are not on the racetrack? Of course, fast drivers have very good and expensive luxury cars, but there is a lot more to tell you. In no particular order, here is a look at the most expensive things some of the top Formula One drivers own. Carlos Sainz. Coming in at number 10, the Spanish national makes around $10 million a year and currently competes for Scuderia Ferrari. His contract with the Formula One team was extended to 2024 in April 2022, after Ferrari announced he would replace Sebastian Vettel in 2021. The contract extension saw that his net worth increased to $47 million, and Carlos, even though conservative, still has an appetite for the finer things of life. Carlos owns some of the best luxury cars in the world, like the Bentley Continental GT and the Benz AMG GT, worth almost $2 million combined. He also likes to spend money on expensive watches and has quite a collection. Carlos Sainz owns a Franck Muller worth about $250,000, a Roger Dubois worth $290,000, and a Spique Marron worth an estimated $260,000, amongst other luxury watches he owns. How's that for a collection? Valtteri Bottas. Valtteri Bottas has done well since his debut for Williams in 2013. The Finnish driver has had one of the most fantastic Formula One careers after driving for Williams, Mercedes, and now Alfa Romeo. He sits pretty at a net worth of over $30 million. I know you're probably thinking that is a lot of money, but here is how he spends it. Valtteri owns a couple of houses, including a mansion in his hometown in Finland, and he loves his cars and updates his collection quite frequently. His garage includes a Mercedes AMG GT and Benz C63 AMG, going for $112,000 each. A McLaren 675 LT sold at $350,000, and a Ferrari double the price at $700,000. Valtteri Bottas loves his fast cars and isn't slowing down on the track either. Lance Stroll. Son of billionaire Aston Martin boss, Lawrence Stroll is already accustomed to finer things. So it's no surprise he spends on only the best and most luxurious. He currently drives for Aston Martin, having driven for Williams until 2021. He earns $10 million with his current team and has a net worth of $50 million. Still, all this means nothing in the face of his father's $3.4 billion net worth, which he enjoys indirectly. Lance spends lots of his wealth and time traveling, and has quite expensive hobbies like hanging out at top-of-the-line resorts, surfing, skiing, mountain biking, and golfing, and also puts his wealth to good use with charity work, where he frequently donates. Like every Formula One driver, Lance enjoys speed on and off the racetrack. He has an impressive collection of cars. Among them is the Mercedes GTR, worth close to $200,000, an Aston Martin Vantage at $150,000, and a Ferrari California at $330,000. Charles Leclerc. At number 7 is Charles Leclerc, currently racing for Scuderia Ferrari. Not bad at all so early on in his career. His hard work and skill get him paid $12 million per year, plus race bonuses. The Monte Carlo-born F1 racer leads quite the expensive lifestyle, or I mean, has very expensive taste. This is evident in his car collection, worth an estimated $10 million, with his Bugatti Chiron costing almost half of that. His garage boasts cars like the Jaguar XF, worth $47,000, a Land Rover Discovery at $60,000, a McLaren GT worth $200,000, and a Rolls-Royce Wraith that costs $350,000, to name a few. He also owns a Ferrari SF90 in a museum holding Prince Albert of Monaco's car collection. The SF90 is the car in which he won his first and second Grand Prix, back to back. He also owns a 15-meter-long yacht he bought in 2020 worth around $2 million, and a multi-million-dollar timepiece collection littered with limited watches like the RMU P01, a Mechabach Hublot, one of only 20 in the world, and a Richard Mille. Charles also has expensive hobbies. He owns a virtual racing rig in his home and a Steinway & Sons upright piano worth close to $50,000. What I would give for his life. Sebastian Vettel. Vettel is a German Formula One driver who currently races for Aston Martin. He is a 4-time world champion and has worked with 2 of the top 3 teams, Ferrari and Red Bull, before settling with Aston Martin, earning $15 million a year before bonuses. Sebastian Vettel is quite the private person, but we know a bit about how he splashes his millions, which includes keeping his life confidential. He also owns an impressive art collection, as he has been noted purchasing some, including a 32-piece collection of all 32 F1 world champions. Unlike the other drivers before, Vettel prefers motorcycles and has many of them. He also owns a few cars, including a 1987 Ferrari F40 worth over $1 million today, and a Ferrari California T at $330,000. No surprise, as Ferrari was one of his sponsors. And surprisingly, a Mercedes-AMG worth $92,500, seeing as he's never driven for the German team. He also owns a Red Bull embedded helicopter and limited edition Casio watches. Daniel Ricciardo. Renowned Australian driver Daniel Ricciardo is famously known to take off his sweaty shoes, pour champagne into them, and drink directly from them after every win or podium stand. Who knew a form of celebration could be both classy and disgusting at the same time? The Australian Formula One driver has driven for Red Bull, Renault, and most recently joined McLaren as a replacement for Carlos Sainz, who joined Ferrari in 2021. The skilled driver earns over $15 million annually with the team and has a net worth of over $50 million. He spends his millions on keeping collections of several things, like wines, colognes, and party shirts, which he said he is guilty of owning a lot of. He also has an array of rare and luxury watches, like the Tag Heuer connected modular watch, a Rolex day date that only comes in 18-karat gold or platinum worth almost $200K. As a man of speed, he loves his fast cars, owning 2 Porsche, one of them being the Porsche 918 Spider, worth $845,000, a Ford F-150 worth $300K, an Aston Martin Valkyrie at $3 million, and a McLaren 675 LT worth $350,000 in his collection. He has a garage worth over $8 million, which is no surprise since he comes from a family of car collectors. He loves to vacation and has traveled to places like LA, where he has a $13 million home, Venice, Monaco, Singapore, and Greece. Lando Norris. Also one of the youngest high-flying Formula One drivers, Lando Norris earns about $20 million with his Formula One team McLaren. The British-born driver has been classified as one of the most promising prospects by F1 commentators. This has earned him offers from big teams like Red Bull and Mercedes, which he turned down, citing his comfort with his current team, McLaren, where he signed a contract extension till 2025. Just like Lance Stroll, Lando Norris comes from lots of money. Since Lando comes from money, it is hard to tell where his money stops and his father's money continues. He lives a luxurious life and ensures he possesses the finer things. Lando and his father are business partners and spend millions investing in startups and pushing their business interests as well. He owns a fine collection of cars, including a Rolls-Royce Wraith worth $345,000, Lamborghini Aventador at $500,000, and a McLaren 570S Coupe for $250,000. He also owns scooters, rare watches, and an e-sporting team, Quadrant. Fernando Alonso. With a career spanning 3 decades, Fernando is the oldest F1 driver today, turning 41 in July 2022. Currently competing for Alpine in Formula One, he has also driven for Renault, McLaren, and Ferrari. He has won the World Championship twice in 2005 and 2006, driving for Renault. Fernando Alonso earns $20 million annually and has a net worth of $260 million. Ranked by Forbes as one of the highest-earning athletes, he spends a considerable part of his wealth supporting causes and helping the needy. He has an impressive collection of cars in his garage, including a Maserati Cabrio that costs $355,000, Ferrari 458 Italia, which can cost up to $250,000, and a Nissan GT-R worth $100,000, amongst others. Max Verstappen. Son of former Formula 1 driver Jos Verstappen, Max is the 2021 world champion and is known for being the youngest F1 driver ever. The Dutch racing driver competes for the Formula 1 Red Bull team, earning upwards of $35 million a year, coming behind only Lewis Hamilton. Let's find out how he spends all that money, shall we? Verstappen's most expensive purchase would be his private jet, which he bought in 2020 for about $8 million and maintains for over $1 million yearly. He also loves his watches, with the most notable piece being the Carrera Caliber Hoya 01 Red Bull Special Edition, made by Red Bull, long-term sponsor of Red Bull Tag Heuer, as a tribute to the driver. He also owns a jet ski he rides the waves with anytime he's in Monaco. The jet ski, embedded with his team colours, has on it his number 33. Just like his colleagues, Verstappen also loves his cars and boasts of a very luxurious, which is another word for expensive, garage. Among his fleet is a Ferrari 488 Pista, Porsche 911 GT-R RS, and one of the only people to own a Renault RS 01, all with a combined cost of almost $1.5 million. He has a collection of Aston Martins, an Aston Martin DBS 11 worth $300,000, Vantage 2018 worth $250,000, and an Aston Martin DPS Superleggera worth $400K. At this point, Verstappen can be said to be living his life to the max. Lewis Hamilton. You can't speak about Formula 1 racing today without talking about Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton is a British Formula 1 driver currently competing for Mercedes, widely credited for expanding the sport's appeal. He has won 7 world championships and in 2022 holds the record for the most wins, pole positions and podium finishes. He currently earns upwards of $40 million annually and is worth nearly 8 times that amount. He is a businessman as well, owning a couple of businesses from a fashion magazine to a chain of vegan restaurants. The established GOAT of Formula 1 spends his money on maintaining his baby boy lifestyle. Just like his predecessor on this list, Lewis once bought a Bombardier Challenger private jet for a whopping $34 million, but he sold that in 2019 to lessen his environmental impact to further his green causes. He is known for vacationing around the world and owning houses in a couple of cities like New York, a penthouse in West London, and a house also in Monte Carlo, Monaco. Lewis Hamilton, as a renowned race car driver, would be doing everyone a disservice if he didn't also have a sweet collection of automobiles. He owns cars collectively costing close to $20 million. In his fleet is a couple of Mercedes like the Mercedes AMG, one of which alone costs close to $3 million. He owns a Pagani Zonda LGH worth $2.2 million, and the rare 1967 Shelby Cobra 427 that can go upwards of $1 million. And a Mini Cooper he bought in 2022 for $24,000. He also owns a couple of motorcycles like the Honda motocross bike worth $10,000. He is also a fashion enthusiast partner with the fashion brand Valentino. A large part of his wealth also goes into charitable causes. What a great guy. And that's it for how Formula 1 drivers spend their wealth. Formula 1 is not just motor racing. It delivers progress and moves the whole world forward. Do you know what else drivers spend their money on? Coffee. I think I'd like to have a cup now. If you like this video, engage us in the comments, hit like and subscribe, and I would be super grateful if you would also support the channel on the Buy Me a Coffee website. That way we can continue making these videos for you. See you next time.